It is currently Thursday, November 13th, 2025, and it's currently 3:22 p.m. I have about 2 hours before I have to go into class and everything, but I had ended up having like a blind migraine last night. It was really weird, so I like literally could not pay attention to anything. I just kept on just getting like super dizzy and super just like, I don't know, like super out of everything. And so I had ended up stopping myself from studying, and then I went to sleep for like 15 hours straight or something like that. But while I was asleep, I had ended up making like a little on Notebook LM, you're able to do like a little podcast thingy. So I just made like a little podcast thingy to fall asleep to, of all of my notes and all that stuff. So that way I can like not forget that I was studying and all that. I mean, like I don't know if it helped or not. I feel like it kind of helped, but also like I could just be saying that. I don't think it really helped at all, to be honest. Well, anyways, so I got up pretty early today and studied a little bit more, and my exam is going to be on Tuesday, so I still have a couple more days um before I have to go and like take my exam and all of that. So I'm kind of debating on whether or not I should go to work or not go to work and study. But it's like, am I actually gonna take the time to sit down, look at my notes, and study? Oh my god, I'm like so like burpy right now. But anyways, and something that's really been on my mind a lot lately, it's just like the simple fact that like I was kind of thinking about earlier about how like, you know, how there's certain things that you do to kind of like keep people in your lives and all that stuff, right? So if you want someone in your life, you want to keep them around, if you guys have any kind of conflict or any kind of problem, you know, you would definitely try and go out of your way in some shape or form to solve the problem, to fix whatever's happening between you guys, and in order for you guys to like, you know, keep each other around and all that stuff. Now obviously this would all depend on like the person, right? So like for some people it's kind of worth keeping around, and then for other people it's not really worth keeping around. So whatever happens happens, and then you just kind of move on and all that stuff. And that had me thinking a lot today about like certain friendships that I've had with like certain people and all that stuff, on how like we had like the silliest, pettiest thing ever happen between us, and that caused the entire friendship to crumble, even though I didn't think that it was worth it at all. Like I didn't think that the friendship was worth that little petty moment and all of that stuff, but obviously to them they're all like literally block, like you're done, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, it just kind of had me thinking a lot, like a lot of the times, like especially with like those kinds of friendships and stuff, like I feel like a lot of the friends that I come across, like a lot of them are very like boy centered. And so a lot of them, I don't know, they just are like obsessed with boys, and you know, to the point where it affects their like mental health and the way that they do things and all of that stuff, you know. And not to say that guys don't do it or anything like that, but just in my experience from like my friends, like girls, or you know, my guy friends who are gay, you know, just the ones who like boys, that's what I'm trying to say. And so a lot of the time it's like, you know, the guy that they're talking to, they can like totally, that guy can literally totally just treat them like trash. They can treat them like trash. They can just like fuck them up really fucking badly. They can talk shit about them. They can do them dirty in the dirtiest fucking way possible. Like they will have them all the way fucked up, okay? And they will keep going back to that man time after time after time, chances after chances. Like these motherfuckers have unlimited fucking chances because they feel like, oh, well, you know, they might change after this 100th time, you know, they said that they would really change, blah, 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 blah. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely been in that position before, but not to that extreme, that's for sure. Not to that fucking extreme. Not to the point where it's happening like that, you know? And it takes a lot of healing and a lot of work that you need to do on yourself so that you're not in that position anymore. And unfortunately for me, that took me a couple of years. So, you know, since I'm not really like in that mindset anymore, I just can't really get why people are still stuck in that mindset, you know? And it's always like super frustrating to me because it's like, how are these guys who are like literally treating you like shit, treating you like a booty call, treating you like you're not even a human fucking being? Like, how are they like getting like so many chances to prove themselves, but you won't deal that same deal with like the people around you, like your friends and all of that stuff, you know? And so, you know, there's like this one girl I was friends with who literally, there's this one person that she was like literally obsessed with, okay? And I just remember them always going back and forth, you know, just being toxic and all that stuff. And mind you, they weren't even in a relationship. They weren't even anything labeled. I don't even know what the fuck that was, but I know that they weren't girlfriend and girlfriend. That's fucking for sure, right? And so, you know, they're all going back and forth and doing this, doing that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking that, like, okay, like, we're friends and all that stuff, right? We're friends, just to end up, like, she ends up, like, blocking me out of nowhere, by the way. Like, I was super confused when that happened. Like, we got off the phone with each other at nighttime and we were like, okay, bye, talk to you later, blah, 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 you know? And then in the morning when I went to go call this bitch, I was blocked on everything. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on right now? Like, why am I literally blocked on everything? Like, I'm so confused. Well, I never ended up getting the answer for that whatsoever. But every single time that person that she was involved with, every single time that person tried to come into my life to like make her jealous, so she would like, you know, go to my Instagram DM me, or like my pictures, or go to my story and follow me, and you know, just doing all this fucking extra ass shit just to make, you know, the girl who I thought was my friend jealous and all that. And she's done this more than a few times over like the past, what, like year and a half or so. And so every single time she does that, you know, the girl who I thought I was friends with, you know, one of the times she had ended up like DMing me, you know, trying to figure out what was going on and all of that stuff. And I'm just literally like sitting there, I'm just like, are you serious right now, bro? Like, and probably the fucking reason why I even got cut off in the first place is probably fucking like the stupidest reason ever. But this girl can seriously keep treating you like this for like over a year and a half. And the only reason why you would even want to fix anything or want to try anything is because you want to give this other girl a chance, you know? And so, I don't know, like, those kinds of situations really don't make any type of sense to me and all of that stuff. Like, I get it, like, there's some people that you might not want to be friends with. There's some people that you just don't really connect with that well. But I think it's very telling of a person's character if they go out and they give these horrible people their romantic interests, like all these chances, and then at like a slight problem, a very petty problem with their friend that they don't discuss, and now they're cut off, and now it's like not that big of a deal, you know what I mean? And honestly, like, stuff like that has always made me super duper duper sad, because it's like, for me, when I go and I think about it, it's like, when I like really sit back and I think about it, I'm just like, oh my god, like, I feel like I could never ever do that. Like, I would never want to bail on my friends in order to go hang out with a guy. I would never like do something that would be in the way of like me hanging out with my friends or affect my friendships in any kind of way, unless it was going to enhance it, like them meeting my friends and we all hang out together or something, you know what I mean? And so it's like, you know, it just has me thinking, like, do these people actually sit back and, like, actually think about that? Or do they just not care enough to be, do they know, but they just don't care enough to be, like, wanting to change or anything like that? And so, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's just like a weird situation all around. And it's kind of hard to explain unless you've been on both sides. So you can't really explain like this kind of situation. You can't really see it from that perspective unless you've been on both sides, where you have been after guys who treat you like shit and you keep on giving them chances and shit. And then being on the other side where it's like, okay, we kind of learned from that. All right, we kind of learned from that shit. We're not putting up with that. We're not putting up with guys who don't treat us right. We're not putting up with guys who aren't being nice to us, you know? Like, there's like a very stark difference in the mindset in both of these situations that I feel like the reason why they can't see it is because they truly cannot understand any other perspective unless they're out of it, unless they're literally ready to not be treated like shit and to actually have respect for themselves and actually just like be around people that treat them nicely. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are going through that right now. And so it's kind of hard to find a friend that's not really like boy centered and not really, I don't know, just always around boys. Like, it's fun to talk about guys. Don't get me wrong, it is. It's fun to talk about how cute they are, you know, how they look. It's fun to talk about boys, period. But I feel like it gets to a point, okay? It gets to a point where it's like, okay, like, you know, we're not putting up with them being mean to us or something. I don't really know how to put it into words, but I don't know. That's just been something that's been really, really like on my mind lately. Just because, I don't know, I feel like that relates to a lot of like the friendships that I have in my life right now. Oh my god, that scared the fuck out of me.